All right. So next, we're going to go ahead and add a secondary light source as well as our reflected light. We're going to make a new layer on top of everything else. This layer is going to be set to normal. And I'm going to stick with this charcoal block brush for now. And we're going to add this in here. So what reflected light is when light is coming down, right? It's bouncing off of this log here, or whatever's going to be in the background, like some jungle leaves, and that light is going to lose most of its power, but some of it, about 10% of that light, is going to bounce back off and be reflected onto another surface. So for example, when the light comes down here to this log, let's get a different color so you can see what I'm talking about. When this light comes down, it's going to bounce off and hit the underside of our dragon, for example, or the light coming down to the leaves under here is going to bounce off and hit the underside of our log. Okay, so we need to add that. It's really going to help add a lot of realism and depth and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to start with his underside, and to do this, I'm going to select the color under there, and I'm going to move it a little bit warmer, closer to the log color, because that's what the reflected light's going to be, and a little bit lighter, a little bit more. Okay, and we can come in here and just start painting that in. Now, the closer that's maybe a little bit too bright actually. The closer it is to the log, the brighter that reflected light is going to be. Okay? In some places where there's not a lot of light reflecting, there won't be any reflected light. So we want to keep that in mind as well. Okay? And I'm also, you can notice, getting a few more of these folds here, because there are multiple flaps of skin that are going to be getting lit. You know what? Let's go with a different brush. let's try the fat pencil brush, see how that does. I just want the texture to be a bit smoother as it comes down. Yeah, that's better. And I think that's a little bit too much, so I'm gonna bring some green up in here for some of these areas down here where it might be getting hit with the forest. Okay, do the same thing under here on his jaw. Let's come up here and move it a little bit greener, because a lot of this is going to be jungle stuff that's being reflected here. We'll put some of that green down there in his jaw as well. Okay, let's do this leg, his back leg. The underside of that leg as well. Under this leg, let's go a little brighter. Okay. And I'll probably come back and knock some of this back as well. This isn't all quite final yet. Let's do the underside of the log here. Okay. Go ahead and take my soft airbrush and knock all that back just a little bit. Okay. Let's go ahead and do under his tail here. Let's do up here on his wings. Alright, that looks pretty good. Now let's do our secondary light source. I'm going to just adjust this a little bit, see if we need to maybe brighten it up a little bit, lower the saturation. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do our secondary light source. I'm going to do the same thing, new layer, and I want this is going to be pretty freaking bright here. And I'm going to do a blue, because our main light is going to be a warm, like it's the sun. So I want this one to be a lot cooler. It's a little bit too bright. Make it a little more darker and a little more saturated. A little brighter than that. All right about there I think is good. And I'm imagining it's coming from right over here off screen, okay? Because I want to light up some of these areas that are over here in the shadows, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. And the reason why I'm using it completely opaque and just painting over everything I already did on these areas, because I want it to feel like a very bright, strong light source that's just sort of lighting the rim of my creature here. And I'm also going to have to make sure that I do this on, well, one, I'm going to have to get all these little textures in here, but I'm also going to have to make sure I do it on the log and all of the area surrounding it. Underside of the wing here. Okay, get these wrinkles here. Back of his leg. Okay. We got the log in here. And his tail for the most part. Let's go ahead and just finish it down here some. Alright, excellent. Just touch up a few more spots that seem like they would be hitting just a little bit of light there. And we'll see if we need to touch anything else up. I think looks pretty good. Okay. Excellent. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead. We're going to use our slider here. I think we need to make it just a little bit brighter because some parts it just starts to blend in a little bit too much. And we'll bring the saturation up as well. Slide that around until it looks about right. Alright, excellent. You can really start to see how it's picking up some form here. You can lower the opacity if you need to, but I'm going to lower it just a little bit, and then let's go back really quick to our reflected light layer. And I'm just going to erase away some areas that are maybe a little bit too strong. Okay, like his shoulder here, that's a little bit too much. We do want some, but not, we don't want to go crazy. Okay. Some of these spots here under his neck. Okay, maybe his tail a little bit too much. And I actually want to go back on his neck and add a few more spots of this reflected light. All right, there we go. Fantastic. So I think we can call that good. Let me go on my reflected light layer as well really quick, and I'm going to brush out a few spots that are a little bit too strong, a little too bright. Just tone some things down just a little bit. All right, there we go. That's our reflected light and our secondary light source layer. So that's it for this lecture. I'll see you guys in the next one.